Oh, I'm not too bad. Just walked back into the shack here from outside, taking care of a couple things. What's going on in your part of the world?
Yeah, I got my new console in today, so I'm testing that out. It's a Guytronic ICP 9000 dispatch console. It's got its own microphone attachment on it here. I'll turn on the desk mic. Right now I'm using a different one. So this is the built-in microphone on the console, and I like the way it sounds a lot better versus the Telex console that I had before. So I think I'll be keeping this one and probably selling the Telex console on eBay soon. Just to get rid of it so I don't have any more trouble.
Wow, I can already hear the difference. That sounds considerably better.
I agree. It's a Shure. What's the model number of this thing? The Z300. So it's a high quality microphone on it, and features of this console are much better than the Telex one. It doesn't have front panel programming like the Telex model does. I do have to fabricate a programming cable so I can get this to interface with the PC and then use the PC software I've got for it. But I mean, it's not a big deal. So. And you gotta make do with what you get, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Make the best of what you have in the shack, whatever comes through that door. It sounds fine. I don't have any problems at all. I do like the way it sounds. But ibuprofen for the swelling
Very
there.
good. Yeah, I'm happy with it so far. It's got, like I said, a lot more features on it than I know what to do with. But I seen it on eBay and I said I gotta have it. It looks pretty cool, so I pulled the trigger on it and bought it for a pretty decent price, $110. Not terrible.
No.
Because the Telex console was $175, which I got ripped off on that. That's fine. We won't talk about that, but I found this one for even cheaper, and it seems to be working a lot better. Doesn't have all the weird quirks as the Telex does.
All right. Am I the first person you talked to since you've installed it? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Did I lose you? KN4EMK.
Well, I responded. KN4EMK from K4ARX. I was asking, am I the first person you talked to since you made the switch or the installation?
Said anything? I didn't catch it at all.
What? Well, I most certainly did say something. KN4EMK from K4ARX. And I just heard myself coming through another radio. Pretty sure I'm getting out pretty good.
W4MGA confirming ARX. You're coming back to me. He's not hearing you for some reason. KN4EMK. Now I think I figured it out. I spoke too soon about this console. Looks like it has some problem with the volume control. I had to turn the volume knob a little bit, and it finally came back on. So I think I got to clean up some of the knobs on this thing. Might be a little dirty.
Yeah, nobody likes dirty knobs. Thank you, Brewer, for your help. I appreciate that. That kind of puts me at ease. I've been having trouble too.
It's okay. I guess it just comes with having older equipment. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to work on this and see if I can get it working better. I guess I have to tear it all apart. I have to get to the I can't think of what they're called. They're not pots. They're you know what I mean. They're not.
So they really aren't potentiometers or something else. Excuse me. Wow.
I one of them on when I got it, but it was like only the exterior because it was like I guess the thing was like old stock or whatever. Maybe it was pulled out of service, so it was like a little dirty. So I cleaned up the surface of it when I pulled it out of the box before I installed it. But I guess there's a lot more going on underneath the shell, so I might just put the telex back in service just in case this is gonna cause a problem. This is new. Wonderful.
Man, it's been a couple weeks since I've had some little chocolate bars with rice or peanut. I didn't think it'd be anything to make me kind of cough like that, All right, just keep us posted there. Let us know what you really decide to do. I wonder if you could actually set them both up and just switch between the two with a, I don't know, would it be too much trouble to put a switch between the two? Does that make any sense?
There's really no difference. I mean, the telex is just, a different model. It's just a tone, and it's, just basically the controller of the radio. So it's not like a big deal. I even have an IDA controller that I could probably use. Matter of fact, let me see if that thing still works. Hang on.
Gavin, it's as bad as I am about listening to yourself when you're transmitting on one radio and monitoring with, other radios and not employing your headphones like we ought to do. Even the CM300 back over here is picking me up, which is a different band entirely. Oh, no. Okay, I'll stand by. K4ARX with KN4EMK. It came through that time, didn't I? This is my headphone protection. My big old ears are sensitive to these things. I'm not sure if it's just old plastics or my sensitive Irish Scottish skin here. I don't know. But anyways, except for the do a volume check here. Yeah. Except for the Radio Shack Pro 2052. Yeah. I almost gave the wrong number. Those are not wired into the realistic stereo mixing console, which is the bigger version of the mixer. The stereo mixer is battery powered. This one you plug into the outlet for the 110 shore power. But anyways, I've got 4 Realistic Pro. What am I doing? I know this. Pro 2006, and I can listen to, 4 at a time. 2 on the left channel, 2 on the right channel, 2 separate sliders. So if I want to, I can just, technically I'm switching to stereo from mono. So if I put it in mono, I can hear in both headphones, which is backwards. But to stereo, it'll put the left scanners on the left channel and the right scanners on the right channel, which is the way I have it wired. And that way I can fade in and out the middle row, which is the top row of 2006s, from the bottom row of the 2006s. So top row, left, right, bottom row, left, right, and I can fade in and out. And I've even got room for 3 microphones. And if I wanted to do all that, I could, superimpose or mix in with, probably a better term, just mix in with my own microphone audio, not to transmit on the radio, but just to kind of uh, commentary on videos like this eventually, along with the audio from the radio. So it's an old school way. I haven't quite figured it all out yet, but that's the process. But in the meantime, what I do is I monitor these as I operate those, and vice versa. That way I have kind of both best of both worlds. What is all that freaking noise? Got Windows on the air now. WOTA. What are you doing over there? Let me turn this one off since I can hear this particular channel over there. Yeah, I think Windows 98 over there is keying up your radio, Gavin. Probably not 98, but yeah, no. Or XP, whatever it is you're using. Maybe I don't know, maybe he's an Apple guy? I don't remember. It could be Linux for all I know. Or whatever the smart guys are using these days. I don't have any of that stuff. I just used Android.
No, I remember why I stopped using the IDA. The microphone doesn't work. So I forgot about that. I don't know why I haven't thrown it away yet. KN4EMK.
You're like the rest of us pack rats. You save everything. Okay, what are you using right now? Are you using something you want to use or something you shouldn't use? What are you doing?
So the goal is, of course, is to run. This is my primary tone remote controller, and then I'm going to have 2 slave units that are going to be installed up, throughout the house. I'm going to tie the radio control network into the existing wiring for the telephone.
Okay.
In the house, because I got a telephone jack in each room. So what I can do is I can disconnect that from the actual phone service and then connect it into the control line that's going from the house to the shed to the radio. So that way I can install tone remotes in each one of the rooms to control the radio whenever I need to. So the idea was to use the IDA tone remote that I already had in one of the bedrooms, but I forgot that I got to get a new microphone for it. That's the thought process here.
That's interesting. So you can command your ship from the bridge. You can go down to 10 forward and command from there if you need to, or the holodeck, or from your living quarters. Oh, wait a minute, that's Star Trek. You're a Star Wars kind of guy.
Yeah, that's right. My birthday's May 4th. So I also got one of the telephone jacks in the kitchen, of course. So the idea is to also get one of those telephone type tone remote controllers and have that as a wall mount phone, if you will. That way you pick it up as a radio instead. That's actually pretty cool. So that's the idea that I got in my head, and I kind of wanted to, work. But obviously I've got a little bit of work to do. With this console having some dirty potentiometers, and then the IDA just not having a microphone. So that's 2 things on the list right now. There's nothing wrong with the Telex console, so that'll probably go in the master bedroom. But I definitely want to get the other one fixed as well to use in the office.
Yeah, it sounded like a really good plan. We all love it when a good plan comes together. All these cliches in the back of my mind, it's just got to go. Um, Kind of the same concept for me, sort of. It got extra stuff, just laying around because I want to go for a walk. I've got an HT or 8, and sometimes there's a backup radio here in the shack. So it all kind of works for whatever situation you can come up with. KN4EMK from K4ERX.
Yeah, it's a fun little project. It's aggravating and it's expensive. Because in order to get the programming software for this console, I have to pay roughly $370 to Guytronics, which is great because they stopped producing this model of console, but they still have the software available for you to purchase, of course. And I don't think I'm going to spend the extra $300 to get the programming cable. I think I'm just going to make one because it seems to be a pretty easy RS-232 to, I think it's a DB25 connector that it has to plug into. So it's not like it's that crazy difficult to put together.
Don't talk with your mouth full, especially on the air. He's going to get worried. Yeah, you make it sound like it's easy, and it probably is. Good luck with you on that one. And I know you can do it. You've gotten this far, so there really shouldn't be too much of a challenge, right? This picks up RF.
Certainly not.
I just moved it anyway.
Whenever you try to tackle something without any experience, but a little bit of
I might have an extra
hands-on experience when I was working at for the county. Tone remotes are a completely different animal for me. I'm more used to the IP-based stuff, but I wanted a little bit of a challenge. Plus, I like the nostalgia of old tone remotes. The easiest thing would have been to just have an IP-based remote and call it a day, but I mean, for me, that's kind of cheating. I wanted to tackle something new, which was challenging. And yet, this is not only challenging, but expensive, so I kind of regret it in some form or fashion. There's a lot more money spent on radios than I want to admit.
It's a fancy hobby. I mean, you could have something that's more expensive and probably worth less. You are in the car business, you see how much people spend on their cars, and they're hobby cars. So I'm sure there's probably worse things you could do. Or you can go both routes and start combining all these hobbies together, put radios in your cars and on your riding mowers, all those things.
And there's a lot of people that come into AutoZone and they want to buy cars for their like 1995 Honda Civic that's beat up and probably needs to be put out of its misery. And hey, look, you do you. I mean, I'm kind of the same way, I guess, because I buy old radios and think they're cool. So I guess I can't really judge that hard, but
it's because they are.
I don't know. With car, for me, I feel like there does come a point where it's just too much. Really, just with anything, but with cars, I feel like you reach that point faster. I can buy radios all day and sell them all day on eBay, and I know they'll sell because these old GEs that I've got, I put 2 of them on eBay last week and they sold within 3 days. So there's definitely money in radios, that's for sure.
So I'm guessing you've given up on the Grand Marquis and the Suburban assault vehicle?
Yes, 100% yes. The Suburban is probably the only some money to get fixed because it's a nice truck. The Grand Marquis is just a grandpa car. The thing is like a dime a dozen. I can go out and buy another one for $1,000. But the Suburban I'll probably sink a little bit more money into. It needs a turbo. That's all it needs right now.
Yeah, I don't. It can't be all that hard to come by, can it?
No, you can get a rebuilt GM4 turbo for this thing, but the problem is I don't want rebuilt. I don't want to remanufacture the turbo. I want to get something brand new. So the only thing that's really available for this particular diesel engine is the 6.5, which is technically not produced anymore. So I can go out and get an HX40 Halstead turbo, which would require some modification. Now, I'm not a welder, so I don't know the first thing about it, so I definitely need somebody to do it for me, and it's not going to be cheap. So that's the issue here.
I'm not formulating a response. I'm waiting on someone to jump in with, "Hey, I'll do it for you." Probably not going to happen. I wonder if that's something you could pull off an whole school bus and retrofit it that way.
Well, I reckon you could. Problem is, getting all the correct parts to mount it, and whether or not the boost is going to be too much for the manifold to withstand. So you have to make sure you bolster the head bolts or get better ones, because with increased boost comes increased manifold pressure, and if they can't withstand it, you'll blow the engine. There's that, and then you also have to get the downpipe fitted. All of that's got to be modified, and then also, of course, fitment. Is the turbo even going to fit in the space provided? And some of these turbos, the HX40 is already big enough. It's probably twice the size of the GM4 that they slapped in there. The GM4 was this tiny puke of an excuse of a turbo that GM said, "Oh, it's fine. It produces about 5 pounds of boost. That's all you need, right?" And yeah, it was a pitiful 5 pounds. So that was small enough to fit in the very tiny cramped space that they gave you.
All right, that's fine. I don't totally understand, but I paid attention. I'm sure you'll figure it out, though.
Yeah, sorry, that's a touchy subject with me. How about you drove truck? You should know where the turbo is and all that stuff. Or you just you never did any of the maintenance on it yet.
Well, yeah, I know where it is on the truck. Thanks. But no, not really the maintenance. That was somebody else's job. It was my job to point it out when it didn't work, or there's some flaws, cracks, leaks, stuff like that, and I just write it up, and they say, "Okay, bring it into the shop." After a 24-hour wait, and then another number of hours for a wait, and then when they get the truck back, "What's taking you so long to go back to work?" "Oh, I'm tired. I'm tired from waiting." I'm taking another 10-hour break before I go back to work. So it could be anywhere from 2 days to 7 days before you go back to work, not knowing how to fix things like that.
All the while they have somebody else taking the load, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Is that why my FedEx packages are so late?
Yeah, sometimes. And it used to be where they would put you in another tractor and you'd borrow somebody else's tractor from said shop. They may be on their vacation and time off as they, oh boy, their truck's in the shop. They're taking a week off and their truck's already fixed. So you get to borrow that until your truck is fixed, and then your truck is fixed and the other one goes back in the shop. Had that happen once. They said, "You can't keep this truck." I don't want the truck. I want my truck back. It's taking so long. But yeah, sometimes Other times they'll reassign the load to somebody else. Sometimes those trailers, they'll sit in the trailer yard for a week before anybody can get to it, which is strange enough to me because I used to go by the same truck lots in Kansas City, and sometimes those trailers have been there for a week, and sometimes you never see them again. I don't know, but I picked up trailers that have been there for a week. That's the nature.
Yeah, I kind of figured that they'd slap you in another truck or something like that. Sorry if there's feedback there. I forgot that I had another radio on.
I'm sure
When
I'll see it
I
later.
worked for Speedco, which was the truck stop, you're probably familiar with. I know some of the fleet customers that came in and got services done. We didn't have like some of the parts that they needed. They would bobtail in like another truck for them to drive and then take the trailer. UPS did that a lot. We'd always have like 2 or 3 UPS trucks in our back lot waiting for somebody to come up because they had to stay overnight for service or whatnot. Their drivers were constantly moving. They drove in teams if they were doing LTL freight.
Well, I think the actual company and contractor drivers for FedEx and UPS, they worked a lot different. They were all slip seat, so drop off one, get carried back for another one, and pick up somebody else's truck, and you borrow it for a while until yours comes back. But either way, working or not, if it was a working tractor, they'd slip into that tractor, do their job, and come back and slip right back out. Somebody else will slip right in behind them on a different shift, use the same tractor, different driver, and you kind of swap back and forth at day cabs at least every 24 hours, it seems like. So for them, it was nothing. But for us, we were assigned our tractors with single or double bunks. If you were out of your truck for a week, they put you in a hotel, and that happened quite a bit too, depending on parts, waiting on parts, or Kenworth, Freightliner, Volvo, depending on who it was or where it was. Either they did it at their own shop or they sent you to a dealer.
Yeah, a lot of the big freight companies they use the dealer maintenance warranties to circumvent the actual cost of owning
Nothing else is going on,
like
so
a
I'm taking all
long-term
this
truck.
off.
So they usually keep them maybe 3 to 5 years. That's why UPS did it. They would buy brand new like Volvos or Freightliners, and they'd run them for maybe
Lease.
3 years.
Lease.
Before the maintenance contract with the dealership wore out, they got rid of them, sold them on off lease sort of thing. But already by then, they'd have like 700,000 miles on them, close to in less than 3 years. Now, serious, those things were constantly moving.
Yeah, I think most of those are on a lease program, and I have picked up tractors with over 380,000 miles, pushing 400,000. They're about ready to get rid of those trucks. They'll either end the lease from the company, as far as it depends on who it is. It could be somebody like Warner or JB Hunt, Swift and Schneider and all those guys. They'll get to a certain age and they will either lease them to their owner operators, lease to own. Sometimes that falls through and they lose that truck and get the truck back and reassign it again as a owner operator truck. That's the big business. They turned into truck sales instead of being delivery companies. Is what happened. But anyways, certain point they'll end those leases and sell them off, and you can buy them cheap, 400,000 or 500,000 miles on them, $30,000 or less for a truck. Anyways, it's just a big racket. But as far as late packages go, for instance, mine last week was weather delayed, most likely because of all the Midwestern weather we had. We're having it again, so you can't drive in weather like that. You have to stop. Unless you're an idiot. And those are the ones that.
Honestly, the weather over the weekend wasn't that bad. Oh wait, well, yeah.
Midwest. west.
And driving big truck, I would imagine it was kind of cumbersome as well because you always have to be careful. I know that, what did they said, the storm that's hitting the Middle East, or not the Middle East, but the Midwest right now is, what do they call that? Big windstorm, a derecho or something like that, right?
What the heck are you on tonight?
That's what's hitting there. I can only imagine driving a truck during a windstorm like that. No thanks.
Sorry, I got a frog in the throat there. Yeah, those Midwestern storms have been pretty rough. A lot of those places, they've been hit 3 or 4 times, and they don't have time to stop and clean up and rebuild. It's just too often, and that's where a lot of that freight comes from. I was watching earlier Des Moines and Ames, Iowa. They were getting hit after St. Joseph, Missouri, and then over there to I believe it was St. Louis, but that's a little further south. But anyways, it stretched pretty far south. Anyways, that storm, it probably came from Minnesota all the way down to Oklahoma, and parts further south. It stretched that far. So long line of storms, and crossing that area there. A lot of the north-south interstate routes, they get pretty hammered from the west, and either you're chasing the storm, or you're being chased by the storm if you're running east-west or west-east on the interstate. So it's not the best way to get out there. It's even worse when it freezes over. You get some good crosswinds and the road's frozen. It's very easy to go into a tailspin.
Yeah, I've only seen it happen once before when I was crossing the 301 bridge in Maryland. It was a pretty windy day. There was a truck in front of me caught a gust, and he started making sudden lane changes right in front of me, and we all came to pretty much a direct halt because he was having trouble keeping it under control, and the whole northbound side of 301 on that bridge was slowed because of him. And when he finally got off, thankfully safely, we were able to move again. The Maryland State Police were already on the bridge, I guess, because of the storm, or the windstorm.
Well, anything can happen out there, especially across the flatlands, just east of the Rockies. I've seen a lot of stuff, and don't care to go back. It was fun while I was doing it, but it's not a career anymore. KN4EMK from K4ARX.
KN4EMK here. I'm gonna hop off here for a little bit, get started on dinner. It's almost 8, so say 7:32 for right now. We'll catch up on you probably another time tonight, maybe tomorrow. But hope you have a good evening, and say hi to Brittany for me if she's not already there listening. Talk to you soon. KN4EMK clear on your mind.
Yeah, she's already passed out. I know better than that. You're done for the night. Once you go cook, you're like the rest of us. You go eat and then you pass out. It seems to happen to the best of us, I'm sure. So I'll catch you tomorrow. K4EMK, KN4EMK from K4ARX. Bye. Eat, pass out, and go to sleep.